In the grand tapestry of a world where heroes and villains roam, each with powers that can shape destinies, one hero stood apart with a power as beautiful as it was fierce, the Crystal Sorceress. Known to many as Emeralda, she wielded a rare and awe-inspiring ability to manipulate and grow crystals, using them to trap enemies and forge powerful weapons from the very earth. This is the legend of Emeralda, a journey of self-discovery, valor, and a relentless quest to defend those who could not protect themselves. Emeralda's story began humbly. Born into a small, secluded mountain village, her childhood was a mosaic of simplicity and wonder. Her village, nestled in a region rich with mineral deposits and gleaming gemstones, was surrounded by landscapes dotted with crystals of all colors and sizes. As a young girl, she would wander the mountainside, often losing herself for hours among the stones, mesmerized by how they caught the sunlight. She was captivated by the hidden world within each crystal, the way light refracted into rainbows and the cool, smooth textures that whispered ancient stories. But her fascination ran deeper than mere admiration. From an early age, Emeralda sensed something unusual within herself. There was an almost magnetic connection she felt with the crystals around her, a feeling of resonance she couldn't explain. Her family noticed her affinity and would joke that she had crystal magic in her veins, but Emeralda could feel that her bond with these precious stones was more than just child's play. One fateful day, while exploring a remote part of the mountains, Emeralda felt an overwhelming pull. She followed this feeling, venturing into a cave that seemed untouched by time. Inside, she was met with an otherworldly sight, an entire chamber filled with crystals so clear and vibrant that they looked like stars frozen in stone. In the center of the cave stood a massive crystal, towering and glowing with a subtle inner light. As she approached it, she felt a surge of energy unlike anything she had ever experienced. When her hand touched the crystal's cool surface, it was as if she had unlocked a hidden part of herself. The energy of the Earth's crystals flowed into her, awakening a power that would forever alter her destiny. From that moment on, Emeralda knew she was different. She could feel the crystals around her, their unique properties and their latent energy. At first, her powers were small and unstable. She would concentrate and tiny shards would rise from the ground, hovering in mid-air before falling back down. But as she practiced, her abilities grew. She could summon crystals from the earth with a mere thought, mold them into shapes, and even grow them to form barriers or walls. Her connection with the earth's minerals deepened, revealing secrets she could have never imagined. Emeralda soon discovered that her powers allowed her to influence different types of crystals with distinct effects. Quartz, for instance, was highly responsive and could amplify her energy, while amethyst gave her creations added durability. As she experimented, she learned to adapt her abilities based on the crystals she had access to, each mineral granting her unique strengths. Her crystal manipulation became an art form. She could grow delicate structures as fine as lace or create dense solid walls impervious to the strongest of blows. Her training became her life's focus, as she honed her abilities day by day, growing stronger with each passing moment. But Emeralda's powers extended beyond manipulation alone. She discovered she could use her crystals to heal herself by channeling their restorative properties, a process that required deep concentration and connection to the Earth's energy. She realized that her abilities also allowed her to feel the vibrations of the world around her, sensing approaching footsteps or even distant threats through the subtle shifts in the Earth. These abilities made her not only a fierce warrior, but also a vigilant protector. The villagers, initially awestruck and a little fearful of her powers, grew to respect and admire her. News of her abilities spread, attracting both friends and foes. While many sought her aid, others saw her as a valuable asset to be controlled. Her first test came when a group of mercenaries arrived in the village, hired by a powerful corporation intent on capturing Emeralda to harness her powers for their own gain. But Emeralda was no ordinary woman. Using her crystals, she created barriers, trapped her attackers, and defended her village with a determination that left the mercenaries no choice but to retreat. Her victory over them marked her as a hero in the eyes of her people, and from that day forward she became known as the Crystal Sorceress. With her village safe, Emeralda felt a deeper calling. She realized that her powers were meant for more than just protecting her own home. There were countless others who could benefit from her help. And so, with the blessing of her family and community, she embarked on a journey beyond the mountains, traveling from town to town, righting wrongs and defending the helpless. Her travels were filled with challenges, yet each battle strengthened her resolve. In one town, she helped farmers by creating irrigation channels with her crystals. In another, she protected villagers from bandits, forming crystal barriers that the attackers could not breach. Her fame spread, and people began to refer to her as the Crystal Sorceress, a title that embodied her mystique and strength. But with fame came the attention of some of the world's most dangerous villains. Among them was Voltrax, a criminal mastermind with the power to manipulate magnetic fields. His control over metal allowed him to bend it to his will, making him nearly unstoppable. Confident in his abilities, Voltrax underestimated Emeralda, assuming her crystals would be vulnerable to his magnetic manipulation. But crystals are not metals, and her creations remained immune to his control. Their battle was fierce, with Voltrax hurling metal projectiles, while Emeralda countered with crystal walls and spears. She eventually encased him in a prison of crystal, proving to the world that even the most formidable enemies were no match for the Crystal Sorceress. Despite her formidable abilities, Emeralda was not without limitations. Manipulating crystals required a great deal of energy, and the larger her creations, the more drained she became. In prolonged battles, she had to carefully manage her strength, conserving energy by relying on smaller strategic attacks rather than expending her power all at once. Another weakness was her inability to control synthetic materials like advanced plastics, which meant that her powers were sometimes ineffective against certain modern technologies. These limitations humbled her, reminding her that even with her remarkable gifts, she was still human. To overcome these limitations, Emeralda developed multiple strategies. She learned to use the environment to her advantage, creating traps or using her crystals to immobilize enemies, rather than exhausting herself with large-scale attacks. She became skilled in diversion and surprise, often catching enemies off guard by appearing to exhaust her powers, only to strike back with a hidden reserve of strength. As her reputation grew, so did the challenges she faced. Her most dangerous adversary was yet to come in the form of a dark sorcerer named Malakar. Malakar wielded a twisted form of magic, capable of draining energy from his surroundings to amplify his power. His abilities allowed him to disrupt the flow of energy in the crystals Emeralda controlled, weakening her connection to them. Malakar's sinister goal was to drain the world of its beauty and resources, leaving behind a barren wasteland under his rule. Emeralda knew that she would need all her strength to face Malakar. She traveled to the sacred caves of Lapis, where ancient crystals held untapped reserves of energy. There she spent days in meditation, communing with the earth and drawing power from its depths. With newfound strength, she returned to confront Malakar, knowing that this battle would be the ultimate test of her abilities. Their battle was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Crystals and dark energy clashed in an explosive display of power. Malakar's dark magic threatened to nullify her crystals, but Emeralda's will was indomitable. In a final act of courage, she summoned every ounce of strength she had, creating a massive crystal cage that pulsed with a radiant glow. She shattered a unique, sacred crystal, unleashing a blast that neutralized Malakar's magic and sealed him within the cage. With Malakar defeated, Emeralda returned home a hero of legendary status. Her journey had transformed her, and her name became a symbol of hope, strength, and the resilience of nature. In her village, a statue was erected in her honor, made from crystal, capturing her spirit for all to remember. She dedicated her remaining days to teaching others the importance of respecting the earth and harnessing its gifts wisely. Emeralda's story became a timeless legend, her deeds inspiring generations. Her legacy reminded the world that true strength comes not from domination but from harmony and protection. The crystal sorceress, Emeralda, lived on in the hearts of those she saved, her story a shining beacon for all who dared to stand for what was right. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more epic tales of heroism and adventure. Until then, stay inspired, stay strong, and remember, the power to make a difference lies within each of us.